and just process the information. Let it impact your life. Let you get excited about it because you now see the big picture and where it's going and where it ends up. And then get a lay team together. Let them sample some of those videos with you, and maybe you lead it and do it live or whatever. But then only then do you start putting out word that you're going to do men's fraternity. But the day the men walk in the room, you are prime time. You're not leading a program. You have a passion you want to deliver about manhood over 24 weeks. And in the third week, you can say where you're going to go. In the 20th week, you can connect the dots because you are well prepared. So, having said that, let me just say it's November, or is it December? It's December 1st. There we go. I was up too late last night. December 1st, okay? And let's say you said, okay, I've got John and Sally Wilson, and they would be great doing marriage oneness. And I'm gonna have them do that. I would say that John and Sally Wilson need about 3 months to get ready. So you'd give them the training kit and kind of talk it through with them. And then what John and Sally would do is they would go through all 8 sessions of marriage oneness with the workbook, do the dates, take the marriage oneness profile, and get a feel for what it's about. Master it. And once they master it, then they would say, okay, based on who we are, what kind of setting would we want to do marriage oneness in? Now, if they are people who are real social and they like small, maybe they're going to do marriage oneness in their home with 4 or 5 couples. If there's somebody who thinks big, like I got one guy here in Little Rock with College Ready. When he got a hold of College Ready, he came to me and said, I want to do College Ready. I said, boy, that'd be great. Where would you like to do it? He said, I'd like to do it for the whole city of Little Rock. I said, whole city of Little Rock? He said, yeah, we could rent a big auditorium. I'm going to go around to all the public and private schools and churches and talk to the counselors there. And then we're going to create a website and have any kid in the city register with their parents to come to this big event, and I'll host it and pay for it. Whoa. Well, but that's who he is. So it might be a couple that says, we don't want 4 or 5 couples. We want 100 couples in a room at the church. It just depends on their capacity. But whatever they choose, whether it's 100 or 4, that determines what kind of leadership team they need around them. Because if you're going to do it in your home as a couple, maybe you need one other couple just to welcome people, help offload some of the responsibilities, and then break up into a couple little groups so you can have much more personal interaction. On the other hand, you have 100 couples in there, you're going to need maybe 15 small group leaders. You're going to need somebody who's really good at refreshments and can put on a spread, an audio-visual guy who can do it with high quality. It just depends on capacity. But what you want to do is you want to assemble that team, let them sample what all this is about, assign them roles, but then most importantly, you need to share with them that we're going to do this at a high standard. We're going to make it quality. You know, I was part of the mega church movement. And one of the things that was embedded under the megachurch movement, moving out of the 50s and 60s where churches just got to where they were just doing the same old grind every Sunday and people didn't like it anymore, the megachurch movement, these young pastors said, we want to do church, but we want to do church that really connects with people. So they created a much higher quality experience. You know what's happening today in America with young pastors? They're beginning to see, okay, we did that, we're doing that on Sunday. We need to figure out a way to do that, go from mega church to micro church and have the same quality experience scaled down to whatever the setting is, but still with that same quality experience where people are walking out going, wow, that was great. So whether it's in your home, in the neighborhood, and couples are walking out and you invited maybe even a couple of non-Christians, but they walk out going, man, I like this. The coffee was great. Walked in, there was great music. They did a little video clip at the beginning, and we had fun. They brought in somebody that we know in town who's a leader in the area of conflict resolution, and had a little interaction with them. Then did the session. This was good stuff. We went online and we measured our marriage objectively on what the oneness is, and they're just talking about it because it was quality. That's what you want to set with your team. Whatever we do, it's quality. Now, in each of these resources, there's a facilitator's guide. And what we've tried to do to get you started in quality is we've outlined every session and given you creative ideas that you could do to make it quality. That doesn't mean you have to do it just like that, but we wouldn't want you to do it any lower than that. That makes sense? And that's what your team's committing to. So that's step 3. Then you move to step 4, where you handpick your first group. You handpick your first group. And I say that because in starting any life-ready resource, I would not go public in the church. I wouldn't go public. Because you want to be able to work out some of the kinks and build some momentum that then spills out of the finish line. So what I mean by that, let's say you were going to do college ready, or let's say you're going to do life ready woman. I would just say, get your leader, get your team, and then as a pastor say, okay, why don't you just handpick a group of a certain size and go through the orientation meeting and vet out the ones who are willing to make the commitment. And then church programming will just go on like normal, but underneath, this group will be meeting. This is again the way they did at Summit New Life. They're going to be meeting and having a marriage oneness experience. And they go through that, and you may find a few kinks along the way, but if you really worked at setting high standards, you're also getting a lot of good results. And so then it ends. Marriage oneness ends, and you've got the results. Because, by the way, I'm not here to sell a product. I'm here to sell a passion. Ephesians 4. Okay? I want to see changed lives led through lay people. So now you've got these changed lives. Now you can go public because you've had a pilot. And that would be on every resource. I'd always start with a pilot. But the way you can go public at that point, let's say you just finished marriage oneness, you've wrapped it up, you've kind of interviewed the couples, you're excited, and I'm talking about a lay couple, and then I go to Bobby, and I say, Bobby, thanks for letting me do that pilot. Here's what happened. Okay, we're ready to go public. We want to do this again in 3 months. And Bobby says, great, well, let's do this. This is how I'd go public, because that's step number 5. Notice it says the team goes public with the pastor's support. At that point, the best way to do it is sell the success. So Bobby's up at Sunday morning at the church, and he brings Sharon and I up as the couple leading marriage oneness, and says, hey, today we want to share with you something we're really excited about, because now Bobby's excited about it. So Bobby invites Sharon and I up, and we come up and we bring 2 of the couples that were in our marriage oneness group. We walk up on stage, and Bobby says, hey, Robert and Sharon have been doing marriage oneness in the fall and had a great experience. It's a new resource that we've been using, but we're really excited about Robert and Sharon's passion for building proactively healthy marriages and families. So Robert, would you just share that? And then I just share for a couple of minutes this 8-week experience and a couple of things that we did that made it work. Might mention a couple of couples that teamed with me to help pull off that event. But I said, the real thing I'm excited about is what happened to Jan and Bob here, who were part of that, and Darcy and Tim. And if we could, Bobby, I'd just like them to share one thing they got out of that. And then they share their experience going through marriage one and how it helped their marriage. Just like I was at the end of marriage oneness over at Summit. Remember that coach who said he couldn't do it? He did it. And in that last session, his wife was saying what a difference it had made in their marriage. Because my husband was willing, in the midst of a busy schedule, to give priority to our relationship. She said, I learned my love language was encouraging words and quality time. And those dates, I just drank it up. And we opened up some new things in our marriage that we have never talked about. Changed our life. We're on a new course. Okay, now, if she was sharing that, and here's the congregation, are there going to be some women out there that are going to go, I'd like to do that. I'd like to get my husband to open up and spend some quality time with me. And then Bobby says, well, Robert, when are you and Sharon going to host the next marriage oneness? Because now we're going public. And so I say, hey, in a couple of months, we're going to do marriage oneness, but we're back at the table today to give out some information about what marriage oneness is about, let you kind of sample what the subjects are and that kind of thing. And then when we get 4 weeks out from actually doing the next marriage oneness, pastors give us the opportunity to make that announcement in church, and we'll have an orientation meeting. That's how it works. Everybody got that? That's how you lead a church in fundamentals around training that requires commitment that gets results. That's what Life Ready is all about.